Okay, remote operations management. Again, I just went through the agenda here. We have Sumanth Makanur from DTE Energy who will be talking about fleet optimization through process information. And then Matt Bryan from MG Bryan Equipment Company will be talking about cloud computing with remote assets. I think you'll find that interesting discussion. Finally, our panel and questions. So the typical automation architecture that most of you have seen, at the lowest level here, we have CNC packs, controllers, gateways, connected over a high-speed Ethernet, industrial Ethernet, and then at the mid-level we have some kind of visualization, HMI software, production management software, and finally at the highest level, business systems or ERP type systems. So this is a typical architecture that we see. Typically we think of that as in-plant. So a plant could be a couple hundred feet, or it could be a few miles if it's a large refinery. But typically this architecture is thought of as in-plant. Now it has a lot of strengths, real-time information, very high speed, very well connected, collaborative, and this has served us very well. But today's plant can be anywhere, at the base of a mountain, subsea, out an oil rig way out in the middle of nowhere, a remote vessel or truck somewhere on an ocean or out in the middle of an oil field. So these locations now are everywhere, and the geography is quite harsh sometimes, and we want to take what used to be that architecture from in-plant, and now we're moving it to remote operations. So traditionally, remote operations was thought of the term SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition, where we had what we call remote terminal units and then master terminal units back at a central location. And this certainly served the industry well. However, there were some drawbacks to it. Typically, it was quite slow. There were lags in the communication. It really wasn't real time. It wasn't really robust in the communications. And so now we're looking to take this structure, if you will, the remoteness, to the next level. So some of the places that you see it, we mentioned the remote trucks, vessels, in the power industry, transportation, distribution, transmission and distribution, remote oil rigs out in the ocean, subsea, and then multiple factory sites. These are some of the remote geographic locations. Some applications where it gets used. We mentioned most of these. So the really harsh ones tend to be oil wells, remote areas, subsea, etc. It's a huge difference from a plant environment. So really ROM is changing the game from what it used to be 15, 20 years ago. There are extending the plant local network, that high-speed Ethernet network, if you will, is being extended through the internet, referred to as the cloud. We're trying to see it as high speed, just like it was in the plant, and that presents some challenges, not the least of which is cybersecurity. And of course, we have a cultural difference to overcome also. A lot of people are very comfortable in the plant with, I can see it or I feel it's close by, and there's a cultural bias to get over to think of it being several miles away or a continent away. Some of the things driving this, accountability is a big one. You've heard a lot of these drivers, if you will, throughout the forum here, but certainly they also affect ROM. Declining workforce, the need for remote operations without people out there, consolidation, and new opportunities for mobile and remote access. These are all the stakeholders, and if you notice, that's pretty much everybody. So everybody is involved in remote operations management. You know, everybody has a certain stake in this, from the CEO to the engineers, operations, maintenance, etc. There are a lot of benefits of this. The biggest, I think, is collaboration, and it really is one of the fastest growing segments of process automation right now. Primarily driven from the internet, high-speed communications over the internet, and the cloud applications that you're going to hear about. It's not without its challenges. First of all, communications, even though it is high speed today, there are security issues. But overall, I think you're going to see the technology is there, and you're going to hear a couple of applications where it's really working well. So in conclusion, ROM is a new term maybe for something that has been around for a while, but today it's much higher speed. The actual control is not just a remote dumb controller. It's the same high-speed controller that you might have in the plant, only now it's remote. And operational excellence is really what's driving it all. So